Give me all welcome. FMA discussion. This is episode 272, and tonight is going to kick off the PTK theme episode. So tonight's going to be more of an intro, and I am so pleased Paulo has agreed to do this with me, and he's got by far more understanding of PTK than I do. I mean, my days of PTK was back early 2000s and my Atians and SEAC days when all that stuff was kicking off, the politics. And that's really what left a bad taste in my mouth when I left both those sanctions and kind of avoided PTK. So we're definitely going to touch upon that because I don't think PTK is bad. I don't think all the sanctions are bad. It was more or less my experience in the early 2000s. That hardly constitutes what's going on today and that it's all negative. So I think Paulo is going to be refreshing and to clear some of that up. And he's very familiar with many of the different organizations, along with the two Hans and instructors. I'm not. KI, I was very fluid. I could tell you the different sanctions. I could tell you everything, what's going on way back from when, because I chose to dive into that system deeply. So this is going to be a very different look when I do the PTK, for that matter. So I'm going to need guidance, and this is going to be probably more of a learning experience for me. Just based on the fact that I don't know what's really going on these days. I hear stuff by virtue of FMA discussion, but that hardly constitutes that I know everything. So without further ado, I'm going to be bringing Paulo up. And obviously, everybody knows who Paulo is. Dumpster fire, FMA source.
Okay. I don't think I'm on yet. Here we go.
So I want to thank you so much for doing this. The reasons I kind of just mentioned before, obviously I have some background PTK, some knowledge, but not nowhere as versed as you as far as what's going on, current status quo, organization, sanctions, players, all the above.
Well, thank you for that fantastic intro, Dean. I want to thank you for having me on. You're going to have other people on, right? Because I really don't know PTK. I've been in it for about 5 years, a little over 5 years, but I wouldn't call myself a subject matter expert on it. I think what's gotten me sort of ahead of the curve is my respectful, or sometimes not so respectful, irreverence for all the drama and bullshit that surrounds PTK. It is its flagship move. Drama is PTK's flagship technique, it seems sometimes. And I think it's gotten me perhaps equal parts praise and criticism for my, sometimes blatant direct approach to dealing with the drama and the nonsense. It's because I really don't care. I don't want people to get that the wrong way. I don't care about PTK as an organization. I really don't. I care about the PTK that is bigger than its organizational politics would have people believe. I believe in the system. I believe in the spirit of Pikiti Tersha. I think its history, its near history, is hilarious. And this is how I see most things in life, right? I can be all, my Tuhan's better than your Tuhan, and he doesn't. At the end of the day, it's freaking hilarious that grown men are arguing about, a bronze spatula that's framed and whether or not this guy or that guy deserved it. Who cares? Yeah. So thank you for having me on, Dean. I really appreciate it.
No, it's a pleasure. Obviously, I thoroughly enjoy when you jump on and all that.
Yeah.
And we got some folks who are watching. Folks, yes, if you're watching, please tell us where you're watching from. Smash that like button. We got Morgan. We got Yemi. We got Rob Bagan, Danny Terrell, Bikini Guys. I'm shocked. Okay. So when I look back, and again, folks, if you're just jumping in, this is going to be more of an intro. I'm basically going to be laying the foundation for the upcoming episodes, and who's going to be on, that. And I'm going to try to do it somewhat chronologically speaking, but I can't guarantee that's going to happen based on people's schedules and so forth and so on. But I'm definitely going to make this open to whoever wants to come on. I'm guessing this will probably be longer than KI. There's much more organizations and reps in PTK than KI. That's just known. So when you mentioned the drama. So on the outside looking in, whether you're in PTK or you kind of touched upon it, play with it, or you're just a spectator, and I mean, drama kind of goes hand in hand with it. I don't say that because I want to believe it or I want to say that. It's just unfortunately it's just the way it is. What do you think you attribute to that to?
Grand Tuan Leogahe. It's all his fault. I love the guy, but he's an imperfect man. And he has brilliant philosophies. And I think if you don't have a pulse about what those philosophies actually mean and how they play out in the real world, it can get real confusing. By the way, I want to say I'm wearing my homeboy Jason Jones's logo. He's Red Desert Dogs Kali, is an affiliate of the PTTA. Anything I say today has nothing to do with them. I just wanted to show him a little bit of love.
Sure.
And also, it was clean. And
more importantly,
and not smelly. Yeah. So yeah, it's the Grand Tuhan Leogahe's fault. If you want to call it a fault, I don't call it a fault. I think it's beautiful what he's done. I think it's absolutely masterful what he's done. I think a lot of people, including high level up to Tuhans, get confused about the Grand Tuhan of Pikiti Tertia. He is your classic Filipino grandpa. And what I mean by that is that if maybe this is probably not a Filipino thing, it's probably an island thing, maybe it's a Scottish thing, but grandfathers, from the perspective of their grandchildren, right? Every grandchild thinks it's the favorite grandchild because the grandfather will tell, "Oh, you're the best. No, you're my favorite. No, you're my favorite." And so if the grandchildren don't understand that dynamic, they're going to fight amongst themselves and say,
because, well, he said I got you.
He said, okay. I'm the one in charge of the potatoes. No, he's not. He put me in charge of the pitchforks. How can you get the potatoes out without the pitchforks? Therefore, I'm superior. And so there's a lot of this misunderstanding about what. I'll give you an example. I hung out with GT in Las Vegas, and we hit it off, right? And this was off the heels of me kind of trolling his Facebook page, because everyone was like, "Oh, I love you." I'm like, "Come on, you fix your grammar, turn off the caps lock." And so when I met him in person for the first time, he gives me this look like, and then he pokes my belly, and then we gave each other a hug and started talking. One of his tenets is this: it's he stole it from Ralph Waldo Emerson, I think, but it is to be great is to be misunderstood. All right. My chats with Grand Tuhan Leogahe really illuminated these three pillars in terms of philosophies, and I'll share them with you now. That is the first one. To be great is to be misunderstood.
Okay.
Right. People talk about PTK. People talk about GT. People talk about the characters within PTK. And as long as you're alive, then you have opportunities to reformulate the message. But as long as they're talking about you, you're in their space. And that's a good thing. To be great is to be misunderstood.
Can't argue that.
The second one is pain is a part of discipline. Okay. Which bleeds into the third one, which is love is a conflict of interest.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's a very brilliant philosopher. Unfortunately, fortunately, he's also a very, very charming individual. And anyone who has spent time with GT will tell you that when you're with him, it feels like it's only you and him. and the whole world doesn't exist, right? And people clamor for that moment, and people love that so much that when GT gives them a kind word or an accolade, they want to share that with the rest of the PTK Tertia community and say, hey, look, GT says I'm this.
Yeah.
Respect me. It's like, well, to be great is to be misunderstood. And, love is a conflict of interest. So
there we
he
go.
really don't love you like that. He really don't love you like that. And pain is a part of discipline. And so I believe that all the drama, all the politics in PTK, and maybe I'm overstretching the credibility that I give to this man, all of this nonsense are character builders. There are lessons to be learned even from the online nonsense that happens among the PTK Tertia ambassadors.
Okay. So regardless of your rank or stature, in other words, even though you might perhaps go through the negativity and all that, but at the end result, there could be some growth in it. What you're saying, or
yeah, exactly. GT told me straight up that he ranked people to Tuhan prematurely, and that's because he wants them to earn that role because he sees something in them.
or to step up their game, so to speak.
I mean, that rank is a character builder for a lot of people. Ask people like, there's a joke in PTK, and it's called the Nuhans.
The Nuhans, I've heard that. Okay.
Yeah, these are people who climb the ranks all the way up to Tuhan. Tuhan is like the highest rank, right?
Okay.
There can only be one Grand Tuhan at a time, and within the Tuhan rank there are like stripes or Hagdans. Hagdan is what's the word I'm looking for? Stairs. They're like rungs. They're like rungs on a ladder.
Okay.
Right. And the Nuhans are people who rank up to Tuhan in 3 years, 5 years.
So has somebody, not that it's any skin off my bones, obviously, but just more of curiosity, has anybody gotten Tuhan that quickly?
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of them.
In 3 years?
Yeah, 3 to 5 years. There's a bunch of them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
7 is what I thought I heard was kind of the low number thrown around there, but you're saying, wow, 3 to 5 years.
Bro, 20 years to get to Tuhan. 15
Bill
to
McGrath.
20 years.
SEAC uses 20 years, which of course they got from PTK. That's kind of the number as far as you get Tuhan, right?
Right. I don't see. I think 20 years is. It's not really time spent, right? Because you look at somebody like Belton Lubis, and that guy is clearly a Tuhan. Like he fights. He knows how to fight. He knows the system.
Yeah, you can't argue.
Right. You can't argue it. But by all accounts, he was he expedited his journey.
Right.
But
he was
then,
under 10 or something or whatever.
It was quick, I think. But Tuhan Belton is a PTK Tertia Tuhan with my full respect. The guy fights. Right, he just is so dedicated and focused when he clings on to a system. He did the same with Balin Tawak. You know what I mean? He is just like a mad genius when it comes to that stuff, and he's willing to put himself on the line. There are other Tuhans who clearly it's a gifted rank. Right? Because if you want to spread the art, let's say in Mexico, for example. Well, if you want somebody to serve PTK
and spread it
and spread it and propagate it, you're going to want somebody with the means to do it, right? With the connections to do it.
Oh, you're talking about, but yeah, okay.
And skill, knowledge, and character, which should be the pillars for ranking in PTK Tertia, take a back seat to the goal of spreading PTK.
Spreading it, yeah.
Which is, I think, again, I can be like, oh, that's not, whatever, man. It is what it is. It's
yeah. I know.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, it's just I mean, we got some great questions from James Lynn, and thank you, James. I think he's on here right now watching. We got Joe, Pink Joe, Russian Color Joe. We got John Mack from the Philippines. Dos Pares, Alvin Alban. All right.
John Mack is a beast.
Yeah.
The guy's
Guys,
skilled.
Yeah, good. You seem like the
I love his drills. His drills are very, very smart.
Yeah.
Very smart drills.
He was on. Yeah, we had him on. Folks, if you're watching, tell us where you're watching from. Smash that like button. So, what drew you before we get to James's questions and the sparring and some do, some don't, the drama, and the weapon choice and yada? What attracted you? Like, you could have chose anything. I mean, you're traveling the world. You're being exposed to all these different arts and meeting all these different people. Why PTK?
Well, it was actually the PTTA. It was Jared. I saw the people there, and there were a bunch of like mean-looking, tattooed, bearded guys in camo hanging out with like nerdy guys with glasses.
Emphasis on the camo.
Yeah, there's like tiny women walking around. There's elderly people, and they all got together and got along. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? I thought PTK is supposed to be like, bro, and I see like this little old lady like doing contradas. I'm like, there's something within this system. There's a potential to unite and to build communities. And then I was there, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do this fighting thing. So my very first sparring match was full contact rattan with a world champion, and I got smoked. And I was like,
at least you did it. I mean, you gotta give credit to yourself.
I got smashed. One of the things that I learned from that is when you get into a Pikiti Tersha full contact or real contact rattan stick, my gauge for success is how many marks I get on my left arm, because it's so natural to do. You're holding the stick here, and you're like and so I think a lot of beginners, when they fight, you look at their left, like I look at their left arm, they could be smashed all over. I'm like, that's cool. If I see their left arm is unscathed, I'm like, at least he's staying true to these concepts and tactics. But if your left arm is smashed, I'm like, you're getting by with natural ability or aggression or whatever.
Yeah, or just reflex.
It's so natural, man. Like, especially fighting French people and German people in PTK. Those are scary mofos, man. They're good.
Really? Interesting.
Oh, dude, the Germans and the French? Are you kidding me? I mean, it's the Germans, the French, and the Americans, right? I mean, Canada will always be number one, but maybe I'm biased there.
Just a little.
Yeah. And of course, the Filipinos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Particularly, there's a group in the Philippines called Hangkilan, PTK Hangkilan, and they're just absolute monsters. It's just they're about fighting.
Who leads that group?
This guy Patch Caballero. He's not going to go on FMA discussion.
Okay. So
he doesn't do podcasts. He doesn't. He went on one time with me, kind of like as a favor. But Patch Caballero, Hangkilan group. Monsters.
So by virtue of Jared, it kind of sparked an interest.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And obviously you're joining the journey with him and the meeting of others and all that. So you're under Jared, but how did you get somewhat familiar with the different organizations and folks? By just your conversations, or just because of your FMA source, or what have you?
I don't want to sound like an FMA fan, like a Jared Wihungi fanboy. But listen, he encouraged me to explore all of FMA. He encouraged me to train with as many people as possible. He saw how much I gravitated and loved it, and he didn't want to like keep me, Yeah,
you're right. It wasn't indentured servitude, right?
Not at all. And I'm not ranked in the PTTA, But he just encouraged my exploration of FMA as a whole. And I'm like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it was incredible. And I mean, I've been in PTTA tribal circle fights, and I do Khaleesi Lustrissimo. And it's not looked down upon. It's not shunned.
Yeah.
It's I mean, that organization really believes in the expression of the individual and encourages that. So that's why I'm everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Mind you, my first PTK or Filipino martial arts connection was Doug Marcaida, right? And I was never inspired to train. I was never inspired to fight by my affiliation with him. It was just all beautiful and it looked cool and twirl that karambit that way.
Oh, okay.
Where I was not inspired to fight, but when I got a pulse of the PTTA, I was like, this is what I love about Pikiti Tersha. This is what I love about Pikiti, the culture of fighting. It's so accessible, right? Anyone can do it because even though, you look around and it's like big tattoo, 3 deployment soldier there, when you fight him and he's outclassing you, he's not going to.
Yeah, he's not going to make a mockery out of you.
He's not going to smash you. Because this is the community and we want to make each other better. So I'm like, that's
great to hear. Yeah.
It's really amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, not to say that other systems aren't.
Yeah. Or no, 100%. I get what you're saying, but from afar, and by having Jared on, he was refreshing. I obviously don't know him as well as you do, but I did get a sense of just his persona. That everything you just mentioned, I could see that coming out of him and what he really tries to instill in the organization, the group, the students. I could definitely sense that from him.
Yeah.
And whatever what he's doing correctly. But regards to some of their sanctions, do you think they could benefit from what he does? Or is it that's not appropriate due perhaps because they are who they are?
I think it's beautiful that there are all of these different Pikiti Tersha factions that have their own flavor. I don't think any one affiliation is complete. And Jared will tell you this, right? Like if you're looking for, authentic, pure this, and that, he might go see Tuhon Bill if you want, or go see Tuhon Philip if you want to learn like Espada Idaga on a graduate level, right? We're fighting with Espada Idaga over here, and we can only give you so much with regards to that. And this is what I love about it is it truly is like a unifying force in the Pikiti world, if I can put it that way. But I think the depth and breadth of Pikiti Tersha is so big that I don't think any one system can. This is my personal opinion. I don't think any
everything. Okay.
No, because if I understand the Grand Tuhon accurately, it's so big that it almost necessitates at least the individual to specialize.
So could there be the argument, and I'm not saying an argument from me necessarily, that it's too big? Would that be a just argument or a just question?
Yeah, it's too big. But I mean that's relative, right? I think when you talk about bladed engagements, I believe Pikiti Tersha is an attempt at codifying, systematizing, and cataloging all potential possibilities.
Okay.
Right? Oh, what if he picked up 2 swords? What if one sword was shorter than the other? What if we were in mud? What if he was taller? And so it's too big in a sense that, yes, no one man can know the entirety of the Pikiti Tersha system. And some people will claim that, and I call bullshit immediately because this system is so big that if you're going to take it seriously and you're going to approach it from a fighter's perspective, yes, you can take years and years and years and years and eventually be proficient and have some level of expertise. But if you think about how different the Sibat is from Espada Idaga, and then you're going to learn single stick, double stick, karambit, scarf, each one of those subsystems you can spend a lifetime in perfecting and being really, really good at.
Okay.
You know, I think some people want to believe or want to claim that they can teach the totality of the Pikiti Tersha system. You can't do it without a tribe. You can't do it without a community. And, right? No one single figurehead can do it, I don't think.
Wow.
Maybe the closest is Tuhan Bill. Maybe.
You know, and I was just going to bring his name up. When I hear reference, like who, quote unquote, has got the whole system or the old way, 64 way of tax, Stokes Methodos, his name constantly comes up.
Yeah, justifiably so.
Yeah. I guess if I'm not mistaken, not so much in the Tri-V area, but if you were to look at the old model, so to speak, his name comes up.
I think he wrote the book. He wrote the book of Pikiti.
Which, ironically, there is no book yet on PTK.
Well, Tuhan Arlene wrote Visualizing Flow, which is a brilliant, brilliant book.
I keep forgetting to get that one.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't write the book on PTK, man. You can write about a subsystem. You can be like Single Knife Pikiti Tersha.
So somebody could write like, okay, I'm going to cover 64 ways of tax. I'm writing on 64 ways of tax.
Yeah, I mean, even just the 64 attacks is an entire field of study. You know, it's intense. It's intense. And this is why when I saw this, when I saw the depth of Pikiti Tersha, I'm like, I can't learn this the way like regular people learn it. Number one, I haven't got the time, and I'm not that kind of learner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said,
you know, with me, it's like it's got to be. You know, the reason why KI resonate with me because it was always okay. Less is more. Less is more. I'm like, okay, great. So tactics, okay. So I have to make a summation of memorization and this and that, which I'm not very good at. Like,
not good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like cicadas and contradas, and again, it's a curation of infinite possibility. You know, when Tuhan Philip Gilina, who's a brilliant fighter and also a scholar in Pikiti Tersha. He was teaching Espada Daga in the Philippines, and he was doing all this stuff. And if you get trapped here, you do that, and blah, blah, blah. And the Germans were eating it up. They're like, they loved it, right? They're like, whoa, amazing. And I was just like, I couldn't learn it. But then I deconstructed it, and I identified there's only certain principles here, right? The sword is going to defend or attack. The same with the dagger. There's trapping, counter trapping, and navigating around one or the other.
Right.
And so I asked Tuhan Phil, I'm like, Tuhan Phil, can I learn it like this and just like spar with it and experiment? And he's like, yeah, you can totally do that.
Yeah,
but that's not how everybody learns, and that's not everybody's intentions, right? And this is where a lot of the problems come from Pikiti Tersha. People are like, you're learning it wrong. No, you're learning it wrong. Well,
depending maybe when they got it and who they got it from. You know.
Yeah, they got it from, when they got it, how it was taught, but it also requires a deep understanding of the self and the self's intentions, goals, and priorities. And if you don't, you're going to be full of insecurity, and you're always going to live your Pikiti Tersha life comparative to others. Oh, I'm not good. I'm not as good as him, and he's more technical than me. And they teach it better. And I'm like, know thyself, you know. And then
it's like, you mean like to give a kind of a comparison to your analogy. It's like I look at like me and Brandon. Well, Brandon's half my age. He's got no injuries. He will always flow better than me. I'm more of the just be on the outside, and I'm going to try to capitalize as humanly possible because I'm getting older. I'm not going to fly around the ring like Brandon Riggs and doing cartwheels. But that doesn't mean I can't get the essence of what he's giving me, you know?
That's right.
So I think that was well said. Actually, everything you've been saying thus far. And we got Colleen Doug. There's another PTK guy.
That guy's smart.
Another PTK guy. Richard Packman, KI. All right. James Lynn, by the way, you're both wearing cool shirts. Love Deans. Used to have a large poster of the same image on my wall in my teen years.
That's awesome.
That might be the best comment yet, James.
Yeah. And Coach Danny Terrell writes, learn the principles and apply them as needed. That guy's that guy's a serious PTK instructor.
Yeah, I saw.
I don't even know what his rank is or whatever, but he's
I
up
had
there
him
in
on,
PTI.
and he was, if I'm not, he'll correct me, but if I'm not mistaken,
Like
he
Matassa,
missed some tests, or he could have tested, but he missed them. And I think he just did one recently. I'm going to say some type of guru.
Yeah,
But
probably.
I know there was some tests missed.
But he's a brilliant guy. Like Coach Danny Terrell and Tuhan Jack Latorre, those are my diagnostics guys in PTK. So I'll do something in sparring, and I'm like, hey, or I. This is so ridiculous of me. I think I invented something, even though knowing full well I probably didn't. But I'm like, hey, this is a new thing like that I did, and I never trained it, and then it worked. And then Coach Danny and Tuhan Jack will be like, well, that's Contrada's set 5.935. I don't
subset 3.
Subset 3. Wow, that's amazing.
That's what I mean. Like I would, man, I have admiration. The reason why I'm covering PTK, because I do have from afar admiration. Like I do, and I'm always looking at them, because I do have admiration. I do. I will admit it. I'm kind of attracted to some of the stuff they do and what's going on and all that from afar. And but when I see like the subsets, this, that, when I see the volume of material, I almost get an anxiety attack from afar. I'm like, God,
it's crazy because there's like that old system, then there's a Tri-V system, which is like practically exactly the same thing but presented differently. So it's like two copies of the same book, one's thicker than the other.
Yeah.
And then within
which book I'm grabbing. I'm gonna be honest.
What's that?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna tell you which book I'm grabbing.
Yeah. I'm picking that one.
And it's not to say, nothing against the large book. That's why I kind of joined Jared's thing. I just haven't had time to go through the vids and all that, but because he seemed like, and I used the word a bridge system. Now, I'm not saying that's correct, but with the Tri-V, and it didn't seem as huge, massive. You know what I mean? Something like I could tangibly get my hands in there and understand, or I think at least. I don't know.
Yeah, I think if you do the Tri-V correctly, it will lead you to the old system.
Indirectly, so to speak.
No, not directly. Like as a matter.
No, indirect. I meant indirectly, so to speak. Okay.
As a matter of your journey.
Yeah.
It's good. It certainly has for me. I'm not quite there yet, but I was never a terminology guy or a sequence guy. But I'm finding myself developing an actual base of knowledge of Pituti Tertia, right? Like I'm starting to know the terms and use them, and just by virtue of really, really enjoying the Tri-V methodology and the freedom that I have in all of FMA. That's one of the greatest joys for me is like, I look at a Lutang or I look at a Retirada or an Engaño, and then I'm like, oh, my buddy Daniel Bernas in the Philippines or Elric showed me something, and it's like, oh, it's that from that system, that from that system, that from that, and I'm like, I'm putting it together, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely, FMA is so incredible, man. And again, this is why I laugh at the drama and politics, at how big it sometimes seems. I mean, FMA is divine. It's divinity. It's beyond this nonsense. But
I know it's so much. It should be so much bigger, and we're so behind. And not when I was covering FMA, the business, how to open a school like that, you really, when you really see how far FMA is behind. Like when you look at it from a business point of view or perspective and all that. I mean, we are just decades just behind. It's sad because the totality of everything that could be offered is so immersed. It's just, why are we behind? Because we are constantly fighting one another.
I kind of like it. Dean. We're like the early adopters of like a new tech company.
Yeah,
we're working out the bugs. And when it gets big, We're gonna be
I
like,
think no. If it explodes, I will agree with you there. When it does happen, I think it's going to be non-stoppable. I just think it's going to be an avalanche. Just like
look at every name in the comments right now. Okay, we got Morgan, Guillaume, Rapagan, Danny Terrell, Raymond Floro, who's KI, James Lynn, Alvin Albano, like Joe Apostol, Jerry Jacobs. All of these people are early adopters, right? And if Dean Franco, who is FMA discussion, like we're all in a really special position, right? Like we get to craft the future of the Filipino martial arts.
And it's well put. And sometimes I lose sight of that because
I'm kind of lucky in that way, right? Like if I started karate now, or if you just started karate, it's like, holy crap! There's like 100 years of people making karate history.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's almost fair. You're on. Hey, Cesar. No worries, brother. Better you jumped in than later. We aren't just nearly adopters. We are lifers.
Yeah.
Good point, Maestro. Yeah.
Absolutely. Man, if I were to characterize, PGD Tertia or FMA as my hobby, this is the longest hobby I've ever had. 5 years. Nothing holds my interest for this long. It's editing, it's video editing and fishing and camera work.
Really? Yeah. Wow, interesting. This has kept you kind of focused.
But I mean, I've done longboarding, freeboarding, surfing, gardening, yo-yo. Now I'm into metal detecting.
When I saw that picture, I'm like,
I love it, man.
Oh, I got a question here for you.
Yes, sir.
Paulo Rubio, can you share to us your goal in FMA in the 20 years from now and its distinction from the other style?
Absolutely. Before I get into distinction, I just want to address FMA 20 years from now. I want people to travel to the Philippines because they've dedicated a good chunk of their life to FMA in Germany, in France, in Zimbabwe, in Connecticut, in Alberta. I want them to go, just as karatekas travel back to Japan, Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys go to Brazil, like Thai fighters go to Thailand. I want people to visit the Philippines and experience that country, that culture, and the people there who have made great sacrifices to ensure that this thing is alive. And I want it to be a thing that you can go to Amazon or like Expedia and buy a travel pack to the Philippines, an FMA travel pack. Right. Right. I mean, the early adopters will be like, well, back in the day, we had to book our own flight to the Philippines and search Batangas for a master. I get that. That's wonderful. That's great. But to see it really evolve into a household name where there's Filipino martial arts academies in every city, in every block, that's what I would love to see.
I know. And over there, it's even worse as far as schools. When I was doing the school theme episode, I think we identified, I'm sure there could be more, but it was a low number. I mean, obviously COVID is tore that country up. I mean, but
as far as distinctions from other styles, I really want FMA to have it all. I wanted to have the image of Tai Chi and Aikido, where an 80-year-old can begin their practice at 81. And feel like it is, this platform or avenue to stay alive, to keep the joints healthy as an art of peace. I want it to be like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and boxing, where it has proven validity in competitive sporting arenas, where we know that we can do this thing, right? And I want it to have the family-friendly imagery that maybe a Taekwondo or karate might have. And I also want it to have this connection to the past that Kung Fu has. So maybe it's a little bit selfish of me to think that FMA can have it all, but I think FMA can have it all.
I think no, I don't see why not. I just think we've just been kind of, slow and steady. You know what I mean? I just, if that's how it happens, if it's 20 years from now and we look back and like, wow, I mean,
Yeah,
so be it. But much we got here. I might just because I thought James Lynn.
Am I being too positive, you guys? I'm sorry.
No. All right. So James sent some great questions in, and I think there were 5 to be exact. I'm just gonna pull them up here. It was just easier for me to do this than actually attempt to write them down. Okay. So question 1. So all right. So his question, and I'm going to assume this is go as a whole regarding different sanctions. Is sparring a requirement, especially for ranking, and what is the expectation how people should perform? So, let's look at it from a global perspective, I guess.
Well, if from a global perspective, if you want to trace it back, yeah, it's absolutely a requirement. You got to fight to earn your rank, and that's not to say that's the only metric to earn your rank, but it certainly cannot be ignored. You have to fight, you have to spar. And like I said, hopefully you belong to a community that doesn't barricade you with malicious intent from achieving that rank. I don't mean that, okay, I'm a Tuhan, so that means I'm going to get my ass kicked. That's not what it's about. I like the way Tuhan Jared characterizes sparring. Sparring is not reality, right? Sparring does not represent the true nature of combat, but it is an essential tool in developing combat attributes.
I think it's well said. Yeah.
Right? So it's a developmental tool to craft your combat attributes. And so in that regard, I think you got to spar. Not every Pikiti Tertia faction sanctioned affiliation spars.
I mean, but so is it, my question, the piggyback off him would be to you, do the majority do, or half and half, or?
I can't speak to that. And I don't want to make assumptions, because some people may spar behind closed doors and they don't share it.
It's true.
Which is another thing, right? Like if you make all of these irrational claims about how awesome your PTK system is, but you're too embarrassed to show your sparring, but as a PTK school, you have to spar. Yeah. If you're too embarrassed to share it with the world, something's fishy, man. Something's fishy.
Yeah,
because the words are not matching up with the actions. Yeah. So I'm very weary of that, of PTK sanctions who have no identifiable bangers. Okay. And yeah.
No. There was okay. Question 2. It seems some organizations have specific grading requirements, and it's clear to all. Others may be, like most BJJ schools, more subjective.
Yep.
Is one method really better?
If I were to pick one, I would tend to agree with the directness and clarity that the PTI organization has, which is for this rank, you need to check all these boxes.
So that's more the BJJ kind of.
In a way, but I mean, even BJJ makes allowances for a dominant fighter to rank up very, very quickly, right?
Yeah.
The PTTA is 3 things, and if any one of these 3 things are missing, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna get ranked up, or you're only gonna rank up to a certain position. Because I think like you can earn a yellow belt in Taekwondo online, like you can, right? True. I think the PTTA is the same. You can rank up online up to like just a very small amount.
Okay.
But like the PTTA instructor ranking is crazy. Like there's 3 Tuhans in all of PTTA, and I think there's like maybe 5 in PTI.
So there's Jared, and who are the other two?
Is Tuhan Eric Lalonnier, which is that guy is a
Not familiar. Okay.
yeah, he is. I mean, he's an Inosanto guy. He fought
Okay.
in Japan. Like he's just like, and he belongs to, I don't know how to say it, a special law enforcement, a famous special law enforcement in France who wear black. But anyway, he's got a deep history. Tuhan Eric Lalonnier and Tuhan Kit Asenas.
Okay, I've heard that name. Okay.
Yeah, who's I mean, good luck trying to find a video of him online. I've released, I think, 2 with him, but he studies FCS Kali. He studies Estocada de Campo.
Oh, wow.
And here's you want to know what's crazy? I know that Tuhan Kit considers Tuhan Philip Gelina as his instructor, and Tuhan Philip is not a member of the PTTA.
Oh, he's not affiliated, right?
Right. Like, well, there's unity, right?
Yeah.
But Tuhan Philip has his own thing. He's part of the original branch. He's got Gamma.
Right.
But the third Tuhan in the PTTA considers Tuhan Philip
to be his teacher.
Right. That should give you an idea about how open, right, and accepting the nature of
which
this.
Says a lot on Jared. Okay. Third question. And Cesar and Morgan, I definitely saw your questions. I'm going to get to them, so don't fret. I just want to get through James's. Judo has a concept called Batsugun. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Batsugun.
You did it better. And people can be promoted based on their combative ability, beating others in competition, especially if there's many wins versus people of higher rank.
Yep.
It's been said that PTK used to or still does have a challenge system. Just rumor?
No, I think PTK has a built-in conflict resolution infrastructure, and that is you fight the guy. You put on a fencing mask and some gloves, and then
settle your differences.
Settle your differences, right? Which is funny why all of this talk really happens, where we have a built-in conflict resolution platform that strengthens and fortifies us, right? Like I've never fought anybody that I didn't end up becoming friends with, or having a greater.
You settle it at the end of the day. You put it behind you and you move forward. I mean,
by the way, the 3 pillars are for ranking. I don't think I mentioned it. Is knowledge, so how well you know the system.
Okay.
Skill, how well you can apply your knowledge, and character. Don't be a douchebag. So
that's a good 3. I like that.
Knowledge, skill. So there's a lot of people in PTK who have a lot of knowledge and skill and are douchebags. Right? Like they probably won't.
But I don't see that from Jared's, though. I see that from other organizations. Jared, I think, does, and Bill too. I think they do really well to keep their kennel. Like they don't have their strays going out there mouthing off or doing stuff. I think they really do a good job leading by example. And it's funny, in the KI theme episode, if you recall, most do that except for that one kennel. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean it's high, and I think the PTTA and PTI do it differently as well. I think the PTTA is more self-regulating. There's like you just won't feel welcome there if you're like a douchebag.
If you're behaving like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's like no shortage of dudes who will just put you in your place, and you're not gonna have a good time.
Yeah, and you're not going to want to be there, I'm guessing, because you're not going to be welcomed. And
you're not going to be. Yeah, you're just not going to have fun if you're going to be a dick.
Yeah, if you're going to come around and just intentionally be a
yeah.
Okay. Question 4 from James. How and why did the Canooting get to be the weapon most associated with PTK?
Well, I believe it was 1903 when I have no idea.
Yeah,
I have no clue. I don't know, man.
I'm sure folks in here could jump in. I did ask somebody this, and I'm not saying I got the right information or right answer.
Yeah.
Is that it just was the Total family kind of adapted it, and it kind of just and the Taliban, I guess, is kind of second.
I mean, I can give you a fabricated answer that kind of makes sense. I think the geometry of that blade and the characteristics of its classic design represents philosophically the fighting tactics of Pikiti Tersha. It's a fast blade, it's light, it's portable, it's tough, it is versatile. And so in that regard, it kind of represents
back a few inches for the upper forte.
Right. Yeah. And then there's a little bit of that tip where it's double-edged, and that keeps you in check. And so I think PTK certainly has that.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Question 5 for fun. Good questions, James. Thank you for sending these in. PTK is well known for its footwork. No way. I've never heard that. No way. Snaking the weapon hand, 90-degree retention of the weapon hand, being a blade art. In contrast, KA is a leaner system that seems to emphasize economy, motion, and less waste. Less is more. That is absolutely true. Seems the two would go well together, but seems many, if any, people stick to their camp. Though I can answer this question really well. This is a great question.
What's the question?
This is actually fantastic, and I love where he's going with this. It seems the two would well together, but seems many FMA people stick to their camp, which they do. Though LeMayco is a system that successfully blended them, plus other styles. What are the different PTK organizations' opinions on blended systems? Question mark. Or did they already not give enough credit? You want to take a crack and I'll go?
Yeah, I think as good as LeMayco is, it was still just one man's interpretation of integrating different systems. And I think that's fine. It became its own system, and therefore you can blend LeMayco with Pikiti again, right? You can blend LeMayco with KI again, even though KI is a pillar of LeMayco. It became its own thing. It was one person or a small group's synthesis and interpretation of how these things ought to be integrated. But FMA is so vast that the individual should be finding this out for themselves. I don't want people to abandon their base. Like if you're a KI guy and you love it and you have loyalty to your system, do that. But feel free to join a Pikiti Tersha camp. You know what I mean? Right? Exactly. And this is the thing that I want to get through people's heads, and I want students to really listen to this, right? No one man can contain the entirety of Pikiti Tersha. Pikiti Tersha is a puzzle. And if you consider that Pikiti Tersha is one piece of the puzzle in the broader FMA puzzle, you're really doing yourself a disservice by just denying yourself access to knowledge.
I agree with you 100%. It's like you don't have to leave your love or your first love or where you're affiliated, loyalty, and all that. But to keep yourself compartmentalized in a lane when there's so much out there, I couldn't do it. I mean, that's why I went from Sound Blend, Atienza, Seok, Dose Parrot. I mean, just because I wanted to see it all. I wanted to experience it all. But I did come around full circle and did find a home. But everything leading up to that was a wonderful journey.
Amazing.
I mean, an exposure and seeing different methodologies and the people and everything else. So I don't regret it at all. I think it made me more fluent and able to come on here and hold discussions with folks because, so to speak, you've been around the block. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, if you don't, as a student, feel like you have license to do that, then I would advise you to examine the nature of your relationship with that affiliation.
With that instructor, and 100%. We just went through that on FMA discussion. This guy, Mark, you know what I'm talking about, and this guy, what a real beauty this guy is. And I'm saying this, I don't, you normally would never do this. It's not my style. I'm pretty reserved and all that. But this guy is it's a female he's been targeting, and this guy's I end up had to block him out of there and all that. But much to your point, if it's that, if you can't be it's not indentured servitude, folks. I mean,
Yeah.
it's but back to James's question. James, I'm just good here, which I thought was fantastic. Mameko, you're absolutely right. So what Edgar did is he took he took the stuff from Caballero and KI and more or less on the riddle circles, big circle to small circle in KI. And I thought it was incredible what he did with some PTK in there and all that. But I thought that was a great question on your part to reference that and how he can join both those systems and all that. So bravo. And we got here, I just don't want to forget these guys' questions.
Man, there's so many intelligent commentary. This is amazing, guys. Keep the comments. I wish we get through all of them.
So I'm gonna backtrack a little. Okay, so here we go.
Smart people in the comments.
Yeah, I know, huh? Okay, let's get Caesar's first, as I just found it. Any specific GM or Tuhan that you follow more than any other FMA style? For you, obviously, it's Tuhan Jared, right?
Yeah, Tuhan Jared.
Your uncle. I mean, we can't leave GM Pogi.
He's not really PTK though. He thinks it sucks. He's probably right. But
and you know what, he's probably right.
Yeah. No, but hey, there's let me list off some like really truly inspiring Pikiti Tersha people, if I may.
Yeah, please do.
So yeah, of course, Tuhan Jared, Bill McGrath, Jack LaTorre, Danny Terrell, Sensei Ian Floresca, Tuhan Eric, Tuhan Kit. In fact, the entire high-level cadre of the PTTA, they should all be Tuhans. Like Jason Jones should be a Tuhan. Lamont Glass should be a Tuhan. There's so many of them. Dustin and Jolie. But from other systems like Tuhan Apollo Ladra and Tuhan Bobby Ladra, their I Kali and Mabagsik systems are really in depth with connecting the history and the culture of Pikiti Tersha with modern methodologies, which I think is brilliant. Tuhan Mick Alcaraz of PTK Katipunan, just an absolutely stunning community, just brimming with respect and brotherhood and sisterhood. Amazing. And other than Tuhan, I'll resist comparing, but Tuhan Mick Alcaraz's understanding of the tactical application for modern day fighters for Pikiti Tersha is sublime. Like, it is high level stuff. So don't sleep on PTK Katipunan in that regard. If you want structure and just knowing where you're at, I Kali and PTI are incredible for that. Somebody like Tuhan Leslie Buck, I've never met him in person. I've only seen a video or two of him, but that's an articulate, knowledgeable individual.
He was came across very well spoken,
very smart guy. Yeah. Of course, I mean, Tuhan Phillip, the legend Sled Dog, right? Like, you talk about somebody who has just lived and breathed the spirit of fighting of Pikiti Tersha. That's the guy. Yeah. There's Patch Caballero. There's just so many, and I apologize if I miss any. I've heard great things about Tuhan Irwin Vallarta, but I've not. I'll tell you a person that you guys don't know.
Who's that?
Johannes Renninghoff.
Never heard of him.
No. You guys don't know about this dude. I believe he's Mandala in Pikiti Tersha. He is the chief police instructor for Hessen State, Germany, and he teaches a version of PTK to something like 14,000 or 22,000 law enforcement officers in Germany. He's a former German jiu-jitsu world champion, and you roll with this guy, and he's got blades. It's like his body is like concrete with knives sticking out of it. Like, he's an incredible dude. Johannes Renninghoff, my man. Sensei Ian Floresca out of Japan. An incredible ambassador for. He's a really great bridge between the old world and the new world.
Okay.
Right. And I mean, of course, Tuhan Kit, Pach Caballero. Who? There's so many, and I'm so sorry. There's so many. Tuhan Eric Lalonnier. And then the Dog Brothers, and then the Psyox. You know, Pikiti has touched a lot of worlds.
Yeah, I mean, and depending on what you believe back then and what you saw and what you heard, the Atienzas, I mean, I'm talking, 2001, 2002, when things started heating up, and that whole,
Tuhan Belton, how can I forget Tuhan Belton? Oh man, there's just so many great instructors.
There's
oh my gosh, wow. Jerry Jacobs, I'm so sorry. Tuhan Mel Tortal. How can I even forget?
Yeah, right. How could I forget? We just had him on, a couple months ago. We had him on.
Nobody moves with double sticks like Tuhan Mel Tortal, man. That dude is just. It is pure. It's like artwork when Tuhan Mel and his base of knowledge is incredible. I'm sorry, Jerry. How did I forget Tuhan Mel?
That's right. There's a lot of names to recite. I got another question here for you, though.
Yeah.
Okay, it's from Morgan. How do you feel about the validity of taking the stick out of the fight in PTK and creating an event that is more blade oriented? Do you see this as a valued progression in the art?
Well, shout out to the Short Blade Symposium and Tipon, if that's what we're getting at. But yeah, of course, yeah. Like, Pikiti is a bladed art,
Right, first and foremost, right?
Yeah, but I think the manifestation of violence and aggression is so much more sustainable using sticks. I know we lose edge awareness and we compromise a little bit because it's lighter, right? But I mean, I think the spirit of Pikiti Tertia is fast and violent. So. Yeah. I mean, I think some people would argue with me and they might say it's technicality and precision. But I think it's speed and violence is Pikiti Tertia.
Yeah, and the stick being used for obvious reasons. I mean that makes sense. We got another question from Cesar. Have you ever trained in Sayak or Marner and Nice with Remy Presas?
No, I've not. I mean, I don't really. No, I haven't. But okay. I hold modern Ernest in high regard because of people like Datu Kelly Warden, because of people like Datu Tim Hartman, Datu Shishir and Okala. Like I hold it in high regard. Even Grandmaster Oliver Garduce, right, of the Pentado system, who is connected via Kombatan. It's all amazing. It's all amazing stuff. And again, it's you got to know who you are. Like, you can get everything from any system if you know who you are.
Depending on, right. Agreed. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything else before I scroll down. I want to meet okay. All right. I think we are caught up to speed except one, which I'm going to get to right now. Yeah, we mentioned. Okay, yeah, he mentioned Buck. Can we talk about the influence of San Miguel Eskrima and Doce Paris and Pikiti Tertia, which is
sure, and it'll be brief. It'll be brief from me, and it's funny
depending on who that conversation's with. But
yeah, like Kali Doug recently showed me a video of a Pikiti Tertia Tuhan during San Miguel Eskrima. I don't know the details, you guys, but by some very reliable accounts and just by observation alone, PTK Tertia stole, borrowed a whole lot of stuff from a lot of other systems, and it doesn't give it credit. It doesn't give it credit. And I don't know why. GT, if GT is listening right now, I know it. You know it. Everybody knows PTK Tertia.
He was living with them for a while.
Right. You know why? I think in the past it made sense not to give these mother arts their due credit. And Tuhon Jack Latore actually said that PTK Tertia is its own thing now, right?
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
Is its own thing now.
Yeah.
And we both agree that because it's its own thing now, let's give some credit to some of these sources. I mean, sometimes it's apparent.
You know, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on there. Not to get off point here, but you know, just when Tom Biggio went over there in the tournament days and fought over there,
yeah,
you know what he was using because of the weak calf rules, you know, and then the aftermath of that. So yeah, so depending on how deep you want to go in this conversation and all that. So I think it's
do you know some things, Dean, about PTK Tertia taking specific items from specific system?
Again, and folks that are watching this, is just what's been shared with me. Obviously, I wasn't there, so I can't give 100% account of this and all that. But I definitely I heard the overheads like this, the kind of that was, yeah,
helicopter.
That was some of it. You know, I heard it kind of when he was living there and kind of on or around the time, you know, there was also some stuff when Biggio was over there, but you know, some from good sources. But again, I would, you know, and obviously I'm not going to put money on that. You know, Paulo, you need to shave per Justin.
Justin. No, my beard looks very puby. I understand. That's okay. Kind of like
that. Well, Tuan Bill asked GT a few times, and GT wouldn't answer that. Well, the fact that he wouldn't answer that, I think is, yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, you ask GT certain questions, and he gives you that smile. You pretty much know the answer. You know.
Yeah, right. I mean, do you need to dig further? I mean,
yeah. But I do think he should. If I can share my opinion.
Sure.
I think if GT has that knowledge, I think GT should absolutely divulge it and let everybody know.
I think
because that will unite. You know, it'll make San Miguel extreme proud. Yeah, for sure.
You know, and he's being truthful. You know, it's funny. I've tried to get him on. I don't know if I shared this with you, and I should have shared this with you. I think it's probably just an oversight on my part. So some time back, we tried to get him on, didn't receive an answer. Morgan reached out to him recently, trying to get him on, and I guess he's saying no because he's a little, you know, I guess he's just a little upset. I don't know if that's upset with me or just whatever.
No.
I
don't trust it,
Morgan. But
yeah, to include me, don't trust secondhand accounts of what GT said. Just hear it from him, and that's it, including me.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. How do I get a hold of him? Because the only reason I ask this, isn't there multiple accounts or people that are portraying?
I think if you know, I think maybe his daughter Jade might be a good avenue. I'm actually supposed to do a podcast with anyway. Yeah, Jade is probably the best one to go through.
She's supposed to be coming on here soon too, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who are connected with GT. Like I can call him up and get him on the show. But it's also GT. Like he might just cancel last second because he doesn't feel like it.
You're waiting. Like, okay, say he's coming on. Say he's coming on.
Yeah. I mean, he's earned that right, man.
Yeah, right. If he doesn't want to do it, right, exactly. I mean, right, Jade. That would be so there. I don't know the dynamic. I just heard things, which absolutely means nothing. But they obviously are talking.
I have no comment on that. That's
okay.
Some family business, maybe. So
okay,
it's not.
See if you're smirking. No, okay. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any questions, folks.
Every style is an evolution from others. Cesar Castillo. Every style is an evolution from others. I have to think about that. I don't know about that.
Except for KI. Just kidding.
KI is unique, bro.
Just kidding.
I have it.
I saw a video with Bell, so I'm just going to make sure. Rob Bagan says this might be interesting. I'm probably going to have to get Rob on this for this series because he can go into this. San Miguel Screaming Seguida's influence PTK. So Rob, I think you just signed up indirectly coming on for this series.
You know what would be good is if you got somebody like Rob Pagan and Kali Doug together, because they know so much about PTK. They could probably go back and forth with questions to each other. I think that might be good.
Yeah, Kali. Yeah, folks. Also, this is also serves for me to identify who I'm bringing on. Mm-hmm. So obviously Mel Tortal, Bobby Ladra, Mickey, like you mentioned, the guy from the Philippines.
Oh man, have Tuhan Mick on. That guy is just he's so smart.
Yeah, I definitely want to have him on. And Rapagan and Kali Doug, definitely let me know. You can just let me know right on here. And I'm going to put a check sign. So again, this is kind of me to generate a list of folks who to bring on in what area I can kind of pinpoint, as opposed to
I don't know what the actual outcome of this will be, but there are certain people that like Tuhan Jack Latore, for example, like knows the book of PTK.
He's on.
I mean, he could probably be a little bit more concise than Tuhan Bill. Tuhan Bill and his stories, I love it.
I know. No, it was 1977, and we were there.
Yeah. Tuhan Philip is the same way. I'm like, Tuhan Phil, what's your favorite apple? Well, when I was 5 years old, he's like that. And like, I think Dan and Santo is like that as well. All these guys who have all these experiences of just living a great life.
It is. It's endearing and funny. Absolutely. But yeah, I definitely got Tuhan Jack. Yeah. So folks, this is how I kind of decide who to pair who with based on certain things I want to approach. Like Rob would be good for the PT, the influence from Doce Parish, San Miguel, Mel Tortal, and the doubles.
Who's a smart cat is Njoli Brown.
Who's that? Njoli Brown. He's from MSMB, which is a PTK system out in New York. Just a very articulate dude. He's got a capoeira and boxing background, and he integrates. Who's he under?
He's his own guy, but he's a PTTA guy as well.
Oh, and Jared. Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah. You should get some old school dudes in here, man. Like guys who were there back in the day in New York. Like that's really
one of the things I want to cover is the 70s days, the late 70s. Like, and I think Surratt would be a good guy. He was back in that Taekwondo school that Sayak ran and all that. So I definitely want to cover the late 70s.
And you know you should interview people who left Pikiti Tersha as well.
Oh, that's a good. So off the top of your head, I should wait. How could I not know this? Who left Pikiti?
Yeah, like I know one guy. He's interviewing me right now. But like, maybe interview Tuhan Ray Dionaldo and Master Felix Cortez. I know they have some Pikiti, but they branched off to do their own thing also, right? And so it might be interesting.
Felix, when I just interviewed Felix recently, and it wasn't that he left PTK. What it was is he went more. He got exposed to PTK through Sayak. Really, who he left was Sayak. That's really who he left.
I think Tuhan Ray left Sayak as well.
They both left Sayak around the same time. One worked out okay, and one I think
leaving Sayak is a rank in Sayak.
Yes. Oh, you're
like
right. Wait, where's your rank? I left. I left Sayak.
I
Oh,
love
okay.
I love poking fun at psyops because they take themselves a little too seriously. That's why.
Yeah, but
One day I will
here's the
get
thing,
stabbed
though.
by 15 knives.
You know what kind of, I shouldn't say, because I haven't tried enough yet, so I don't want to jump to this conclusion, but I should say what's given some frustration, like me and Carl Atienza used to be really close. I mean, we were really, really close. And I reached out to him and he won't come on. And some of the sacks won't come on. But I haven't, in fairness to them, I haven't asked some different people and all that. So I'm not burying that, and I don't want to jump to that conclusion. But there's still it's been a little frustrating, and because they've seen my shows, how I conduct myself. I don't put people in the torture chamber.
I also think like the psyops really are really clinging on to their imagery of secrecy. They all wear
The whole
black.
cult. Well, I mean, it could be the cult thing. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
It's kind of gotten old, right? I mean, they
definitely
maybe
have
worked in the 80s and 90s or whatever, but like, come on, psyops. Let's just be real. This is FMA, right? In context of whatever. Oh, by the way, Morgan brought up. Was that Morgan? Yeah, Morgan brought up a good point. You need to interview Jerson Tortal, Dikidi Tertia Serradas, which is the offshoot of Pikiti Tertia.
Okay, let me just get down to him right now.
He is 1, 2, 3, fourth comment from the last here on Facebook. Jerson Tortal.
Wow, these things are just coming in. Oh my gosh, man, I missed out on some of these.
Yeah, Dikidi Tertia Serradas.
Her son
Dikidi
Hotel.
Tertia and Pikiti Tertia. The Dikidi Tertia is actually an even more simplified and drill and like they're really, really heavy on. It's like the KI of Pikiti Tertia.
And that's Dikidi. That's her son, her Tortal. Okay.
Yeah, Dikidi Tertia. Okay. It's so underrated, and I would love for Dikidi Tertia to have its time in the limelight. It's actually where Tuhan Jared started his Pikiti Tertia is Dikidi Tertia.
Okay, so all right, so then I should be looking at so Radionalo's now already more already went through that. Doug Mercada, okay. What about he's saying Hertzone Tortal? And am I correct in that? Is that what you did? Okay. All right.
Yeah, Doug would be good. Doug would be good. He'll get the views. He'll drink his coffee. Flip out a rabbit.
Yeah, when he was on, if I recall correctly, there were a lot of views. There's Tortal. Okay. All right. The name does that. I definitely have heard that name before. All right. Yes, Uncle Nene. Yeah, I definitely reached out to Nene, and he was saying his internet, the internet could be an issue. Okay. We need you to get you a bench. Brian Rodriguez. So, all right. So, okay. What are suggestions from angles of attack? So thus far, I wanted the late 70s group, definitely the group over in the Philippines, Mick, Ron Mick, who left PTK. That's
Tuhan Mick Alcaraz.
I have it. Yeah, correct. I got that. Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta get him on there.
What about kind of going over new and old? Like maybe we touched upon this in previous episodes, but not so specific. But what I mean by that is like, the old far as the new, I guess, Dose Methodos versus Tri-V. I mean, what do you think about that?
My opinion is biased. I'm a Tri-V guy, and even within Tri-V, I don't learn Tri-V. So I think one of the biggest myths internally within Pikiti Tertia is considering something like the PTI as the academic branch of Pikiti Tertia, and then some others are the combative branch of Pikiti Tertia.
I kind of heard that. Okay.
Right. I think that's clearly been dispelled. Right. I think I think it may have been used in a derogatory sense at one point, because when you say something, though, it's an academic school, right? It kind of has connotations of a lack of application. That's clearly not the case. But the difference between Tri-V and the Doce Methodos, or the old way, whatever you want to call it, is, I think, structurally it's kind of polar opposites, right? Where I think Tri-V gets you to a functional level of application competence, whereas the older way sort of gets you to earn that a little bit more before you jump into the Shark Tank. I think that's the way that I can characterize it, you know?
I also want to cover an empty-hand aspect, because when I look at Bill McGrath sent me some empty-hand material from there, and I tell you, it was as seal as it come from, obviously from Eddie Joffrey. I thought it was fascinating. So I'd like to cover an empty hand aspect, because when I look at the empty hand per se under the PTI lens, I wasn't looking from FMA. I was seeing what it is, CLOD from Eddie Joffrey. So I think that might be worth, like, what do you think?
Man, I mean, I really am a critic of FMA empty hand.
Oh, I mean, I am too. Well, first of all, does it even
exist? I think the methodologies and the testing platforms need a little bit of an upgrade.
I think it goes beyond upgrade, but I know I agree with what you're saying. I mean, I agree with the Western creation. Yeah, there's definitely Pantukan, there's definitely Dumog, there's definitely dirty boxing.
Yeah,
but it's a Western thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just think I think a lot of the things that we might consider Panantukan, Suntukan, things like that, are things that happen incidentally in the sport of in boxing or in punching.
Yeah.
Like if I try to punch a guy and he's like this, and I punch his elbow.
Oh my gosh,
that's gonna hurt my fist, and so FMA is like, that's a move now. Okay, cool.
You just did a destruction.
Right.
Yeah,
so.
Or if you felt, here's another one for you, Paulo. Well, you know what? He was coming at me, and I went like this, and then we said, "Wait."
Let's do it the other way and call it hubad. I mean, these are all universal principles. They exist in so many places. I think where FMA lacks credibility is in how we teach it and how we craft it in real time, real speed, under real pressure.
And we know it kind of breaks down.
It kind of breaks down because we're so preoccupied with this Rolodex of techniques that we can't even get a proper jab cross.
Yeah.
Because we got to that and we passed it day one without really getting good at it.
Yeah. What's interesting is this will be part of the theme. I'm having Danny Terrell and Bill McGrath on FMA empty hand, but I definitely want to tie into PT. Yeah. So.
Well, like when 200, it was like something like 4 to 7 years in development, this Pikiti boxing, right? It's like, what's Pikiti boxing? But like he had a K1 striking coach. He had Ajarn Buck Grant, who is a former MMA fighter and an Ajarn in Muay Thai and a professional MMA coach. He had Kenny Bigby Jr., who's a boxing coach and a Muay Thai coach, to really like bring more aliveness to it. But even then, the Pikiti boxing module falls short if you don't fight with it, if you don't actually, because a lot of it are sequences, right? Common sequences. And I think the people's tendency is like, okay, I know the sequence now, I can teach it in class. But it's like that Pikiti boxing module should take a good year to go through. You can watch it in like 3-4 hours and go, oh yeah, I already know that stuff. But if you're not working it out, man,
Yeah, if
it's
you're not finding kinks or
not good.
adapt what can work for you or what maybe you can tweak and all that. But somebody said here, I don't know much about this guy. I just know he does a lot of online stuff. And Paul from PTK Geo,
Oh, Paul Ingram.
and apparently he has zero interest in podcasting about PTK days. Okay.
Yeah, that guy is. Paul Ingram is killing the search engine optimization and the mass awareness of Piketty, Tersha, or FMA online. I ain't never seen that dude spar. I've never seen him fight. And I don't know if he has any background in professional security, law enforcement, or military, but kudos to him, because every bit of promotion for PTK or FMA is good in my books. But at the same time, if you're going to talk about certain things, like, be honest about it, number one, or get yourself some,
Yeah, I've heard mixed things about him. I've never had a talk with him. I'm sure he must know something, has his stuff, but it sounds like it sounds like we shouldn't even approach him. He doesn't come on.
Yeah. Ray Flora always says
100%. Yeah, get in there with the Boxer, which I used to do back in the day, and try to pull this. I was first exposed to Anasano blend, the scissoring, the Goontings, and it didn't work out well for me. I'll leave it at that.
I'll say this: pro boxer, fine, but an honest Jeet Kune Do guy, like a real Jeet Kune Do guy, who isn't just like a classical Jeet Kune Do guy, somebody who actually boxes and does Muay Thai and still considers himself a Jeet Kune Do guy. Our homeboy at the boudoir, Mark Medeiros, he's a tough mother effer, and he's sparring partners to world champions, and like, that's what you got to. And you can compartmentalize. You don't need to play the boxing game to get the boxing energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can be like, hey, feed me honest jabs. Feed me honest. Let's spar.
No, I know, right? Yeah.
You can just jab. And I'm gonna try to friggin' do all this stuff. It's difficult.
My experience. And again, I'm not saying everybody would have my experience. It just didn't go well for me.
No, my friend Mick Coop out of England, he assesses the validity of techniques on a comparative basis. Meaning to say, I'm not saying the Gunting isn't going to work, but wouldn't you rather just land a solid right cross? To
me, it didn't make sense. The more and more I got into it, it was like, okay, it was like curriculum. It's neat to show, hey, this is a derivative from, and then I just stopped doing it for my students because it was a fallacy. And I was indirectly kind of lying to them, and I didn't feel good about that.
Yeah.
And but here, Paul teaches generic Kali from Morgan. So I guess the Paul guy that was referenced before.
Yeah.
I don't know much about him. Although, like you said, he seems the marketing thing. He's got pretty
material, and he's marketing it. He's killing the search engine optimization.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's good. Yeah. I would just like to see him like throw down, or just. I think PTK could do with a healthy dose of honesty as well. Like, the blade is not a magic pill. It's not, and I got in trouble for saying this one time, Dean, and I cited like FBI statistics for survivability rate for edge weapons attacks.
Okay.
And so I took that number and then I extrapolated that and I juxtaposed it against the number of people that take martial arts. So let's say, 1% of the population does martial arts, right? And out of that 1%, 0.05 do FMA, and the survivability rate for knife attacks is this high. And I'm like, therefore, FMA training is unnecessary. And I kind of got attacked. I kind of said it tongue in cheek, right? But if you're taking FMA purely for knife defense, I mean, I think that's a bad idea. You have to love it.
Well, my opinion on knife tapping versus if nobody knows my opinion on that by now, obviously you haven't been seeing any of my posts, or you're just turn a blind eye and but that's not to say I don't want to hear from them, about it.
Yeah.
I take everybody's opinion and listen to it and give a heartfelt listen to it and let them express themselves without passing judgment or being overly critical. I just know what works for me.
Yeah. And yes, it builds attributes. And the thing is, you got to love FMA on a multi-layered, multi-tiered approach, because if you're going to put all your eggs in one basket, you're going to do a disservice to yourself and to FMA. You know what I mean? There's so much more here, guys.
Yeah.
There's so much more.
Right. It's like
Danny Terrell, knife tapping is not knife fighting. And there you go. It's not even knife defense, really. I mean, Dean, we can get into the whole
argument. Here's my argument, and I'm just going to say this now. And people get upset at me. They get upset at me.
Go for it.
It's not. I know it's not knife fighting, and I never thought that and all that. And like you just said, it's not knife defense. So for a person, for me, who has a set amount of hours a week to train and perfect my craft, refine it, make myself better, best version of my possible, why am I going to do something that's not going to make my craft better or refine it? Yeah. So we identified, and I'm just using it as an example. This could be anything. I mean, this could be, empty hand stuff. This could be stick stuff. Am I making sense?
Sorry, my daughter was looking for her phone charger.
No. Oh, do we have to give her a public hello?
No, Kai, you want to say hi? No,
I thought that was a drill when you're on, that we have to give her a public hello.
Is it live?
Wait, hold on. You can't come in because your school shirt is on. We don't want them to know what school you go to. Yeah, it is live.
Like how?
That's Dean.
Wait, that's the one who said hi to me.
That's the guy. That's Dean Franco. Yeah, he's like,
Mommy's home.
Yeah, all right.
She sounds like a cutie.
Yeah, she's a firecracker. So yeah, Dean, sorry, can you reiterate real quick what you said?
What I'm saying is,
you're a 2-on-1 guy. Yeah, I know that.
I'm not looking.
Way to go.
I'm not looking to offend anybody. What I'm saying is, I have a certain amount of hours to train a week, so I really put into stuff I find that's working for me. So I want to refine that. I want to make it better.
Yeah,
and all that. When I've done stuff that hasn't yielded me results, and this could be anything. I'm just use this as an example now because it happens to be the topic of subject as we're talking about it. But this could go for an empty hand thing. You know what I mean?
100%, Dean. I think you're talking about training prioritization, right? You only have X amount of time, and FMA is so vast that if you try to learn all of it, and if you try to learn all of it to a functional competence, it's still going to take you a really, really long time, and it's still going to be a practice of inefficiency if your goal is knife defense. Right?
That is one of my majors.
Right.
That's what I'm going to see out there probably. Some crackhead who's down and out is going to try to hold me up.
Right. Exactly. And so I think if your number one priority, if your only priority is knife defense, I think Filipino martial arts is a terrible choice, right? But
I'm not going to argue. Yeah.
Right. But if knife defense is a consideration, but you're also looking for art, wellness, enrichment, mental and physical challenges, then FMA might be the best answer, right? But if it's just knife defense, I take a jiu-jitsu class, a wrestling class, and does that make sense, Dean?
Oh, it totally makes sense. I can appreciate what you're saying. Like if you're looking for the art and all that, you're absolutely right. FMA is probably the best answer. You know what I mean? With all that included, if that's what your goals and what you're seeking. For me, I want to know, God forbid something happens, I'm going to go to the best thing that I've been trying to refine which has been 2 decades now. I don't have time for anything else that's going to minimize or reduce what I'm doing now or water it down. It's too counterintuitive for me.
Yeah.
Hey, that's for me.
Bruce Albach, Danny Terrell, Jerry Jacobs, back to back just made really excellent points, right? These are really smart, really just intelligent people. Bruce says people don't understand what drills are for. Drills develop skills. They're not for fighting or self-defense.
Yeah,
Coach Danny's like,
we all know that or heard that. Yeah.
Coach Danny's like knife tapping is a part of a long and systematic process.
Yeah.
And then Jerry Jacobs is like knife tapping is
Um,
only one small piece.
Yeah,
Actually,
right.
knife tapping is great for initial defense, Dean. Like knife tapping is amazing to develop your initial defense because you can't grab a 2-on-1.
It was all Sayok. I mean, believe me.
Boom.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Boom. I mean, matter of fact, that's where I got that. Oh, yeah. So, in taking the piece of the U drill for getting my center mass on an angle. So I can't say it was totally useless, and I hope I'm not coming across that way.
No.
That. There is, but here's the thing. This is what I love about Ray Floral. The less is more. Hence why I just take 7 or 8 movements. See, this is why me and him would get along if we lived in the same town. Because I want, you know what I mean? Like, and I want to take those things, refine it. Now, that's not to say I'm against the art or anything else. Absolutely not. But like you said, priority training,
Yeah, Ray Floral has it figured out. And unfortunately,
I think more people care to admit too about him.
When he is like, he's just way too honest for his own good. When he says he focuses on 7 to 8 moves, there's going to be people who are like, that's boring. I don't want to train with him. And I'm like, you have no idea how
it's like you're refining, like you're taking those 7, 8 things and seeing what come off that and refining and but then for somebody who's into artsy and like that could be boring. So I could see that.
Yeah. But like in the same way that boxing, I guess, can be boring. There's only like 5 punches. So yeah, I guess it's boring, but it takes a lifetime to just even be halfway decent at it. So that's what I think is a big problem also. You asked earlier in this conversation if it's a problem about how big PTK is. I think yes and no, right? Like,
that's right.
I did serves the demand. The demand is what's the next move? What's the next sequence? What's the next weapon combination?
I want more.
Exactly. PTK will deliver that for sure. But like I also said, true PTK will necessitate the practitioner to specialize.
Based on maybe who they are, past experience, what resonates with them. They might funnel to a particular lane or something. Yeah. Okay.
I love single stick. But I love single knife, and I think even those 2 things, I'm like mind boggled at the amount of Pikiti Tertia. Like, I know 1 drill in all of Pikiti Tertia. 1.
What's that?
And I can drill. It's the Sabayan drill, the Col de Mama drill, and I only know its most basic foundation. There's tons of variations. I only know the very basics, but I use it to explore.
Yeah. Okay.
Because once you know, like, if the drill was, let's say that was the Sabayan drill, this is just that, right? Yeah. We're doing the drill, and then boom, I punch you in the face. Then you got to react, and then we're back to the drill.
Okay.
And then I try to do a single leg takedown. That's how I approach that 1 drill that I know in Pikiti Tertia.
Yeah, like I know exactly what you're talking about. And the reason why I'm bringing in some of your guys there, I like what you guys were doing with the Hoobid Loobid, going for takedowns or just throwing anything in that mix. Like I have appreciation for that.
You got to throw it in. Like I did Sabaya in basic flow, and I told my son, out of the flow, try to punch my face as hard and as fast as you can.
Yeah, I mean
then back to the flow.
I mean, that's good. I don't care who you are. That's going to improve perception and reaction. I mean, unless you're like getting hit in the face.
Yeah, by a 14-year-old.
Sayok drills are derived from tappy tappy. Look how it. I guess that's a whole can of worms right there, Rob. Depending on who you listen to, did Bo Sayok create it, or did the Sayoks take it from?
Right. What about knife flapping?
I'm not touching that one, but much. I get your point though, Rob.
Yeah.
That's what started the whole thing in the early 2000s. That whole thing right there, tapping. Who came up with it? You know what I mean?
Knife tapping has direct correlation to
at the feeder. The feeder mentality is a huge thing in Sayok. The feeder sees into the future. The feeder controls the drill. The feeder knows the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah.
Look at all of these people who just are like speaking absolute straight up truths, and yet sometimes Bikini Tertia is like still marketed as this like you come on, guys.
I think it. You know what it is though. I think much to the genius you mentioned of GT,
Yeah,
it
yeah, it's true.
it tracks. It does.
It does.
Like take somebody like me, who I'm, what lane I'm in, and I cannot. I'm telling you right now. I tell you, what's going on over there? Huh? What? Who's? I mean, it attracts you. It does.
You know what, Dean? Make sure when you go to a PTK seminar that I'm there and we'll learn like a particular way together. You know, because I think we learn kind of like the same things.
It sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah, like when Tuhan Jack does his Zoom classes,
I can't.
Here's what'll happen. He'll teach one brilliant thing.
Nothing against him.
No, he's probably one of the best like teachers who can articulate the high level concepts in PTK. But what I was getting was like he'll teach one thing at the beginning of a class, and that's all I'll do. I literally tune out for the rest of the class until I kind of hear something that relates to the thing.
Well, hey, are you going to the shindig down there in June, Atlanta?
I heard. Yeah, I think I got it. I just got invited to that. Yeah. Possibly. I don't know. I could get called to a project at any given time. So,
oh, man. So what? Like, all right. I mean, tentatively speaking, what would be your next PTK event that you would go to?
Oh man. So there's I think the PTTA European Conference in Andalusia, Spain might be happening. If not, there's the Philippines camp in November. I'm hoping to make it out to the PTI camp, which I believe is.
Rob mentioned Las Vegas.
Yeah, maybe. Robert Small. So are you FMA? No. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure, but you know what? Can you drive to Rochester? Is that drivable for you from Connecticut?
Oh yeah, no. Rochester is definitely drivable for me. Sure.
I could drive to Rochester. We should go see like some Tuhan Jack or Tuhan.
Who's in besides Tuhan Jack, Rochester? Who else?
Well, Shianak Crowsmate is there. Valpes.
That's right. He lives like up the road or something.
He's a PTI guy. Tuhan Bill is not too far.
Yeah, Tuhan Bill is like an hour and a half from me. I think Jack is. I don't know.
Yeah, we should do a New York tour.
He's by the border by you. Am I correct?
Yeah, Rochester. I can get to Rochester in like 4 hours. But you know what? Oh man. See, the East Coast is dope because you got PTI headquartered there. You have iKali headquartered in the Maryland area.
Maryland, yeah.
You got a ton of you got Ras Angola Tafari and Jolie Brown in New York. There's
the August camp in Rochester.
Is it in Rochester?
Yeah, Danny's saying right now, August 12th, 13th, 14th, Rochester.
Yeah, I would like to go to that.
That would be a bad place to meet, right?
Yeah, I think I'm ready to learn PTI stuff. Where I'm at, I think I can actually follow along.
You'd be a good bird because I could tell you, I would just be like,
yeah, no, but I'll be with you. I'll be like, Dean, let's just do. Moves 1 and 2 from the 24.
We're making up our own.
Yeah, we'll make up our own PTK system. We'll call it the Dean Branco systems. Come on, guys.
I tell you, if Tuhan Jack comes around to correct me, do you know who I am? I am Dean Branco.
That's Dean Branco. What are you doing? Tuhan Jack La Torres. Jack La Torres. Who are you?
Jack La Torres, who are you to come around and critique me, Jack?
Come on, man. Just because you're a Tuhan, huh? Don't talk to Dean Branco like that.
That is so Brockport. That might be an idea. Yeah, meet at the camp there. And then, hey, Paul, I got Dean accounted for May. That's May though. We're talking. This is August. KI PTK blend. A KI PTK blend. Is this the Dean and Franco? Is this the Dean and
Let's do it, man. We will travel the United States kicking your ass. Come on.
So here's the tour guide.
Done.
Me and Paulo show up at any seminar, and despite what the teacher's professing or teaching, we are just going to do and make up our own thing, and then tell the students what they should do.
I know. You should invite us to your seminars, and we'll be like that. This is why you just wasted 4 hours of your time segment. No, I'm just kidding.
And we'll be so beloved in the FMA community.
Yeah.
Kali Franco.
No, we're gonna call it PDK. Paulo Din Kali. Huh? PDK? You like that?
You are now learning under the Paulo Din Kali, supervised by GM Pogi.
PDK, come on.
Oh my God, that would be too funny. That sounds great. I want to be where you guys go.
PDK, that's horrible.
And then our fans would be like that. We have a ranking structure. Depending on how much you disrupt the seminar will dictate your rank.
That's funny. It kind of reminded me of something. There was a Legends of Kali 2 seminar in Las Vegas with Grand Tuhan Leo guy going back to Bikini Tertia, which is
I guess that was the point.
But PDK, you guys will be the PD files, I guess. No, that's so inappropriate. Anyway, in Las Vegas, Grand Tuhan Leo guy was teaching with what's his name? Guru Dan in the Santo, right?
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah, it was cool. But like GT will spend, he had his whiteboard talking about combat, geometry, and sacred metaphysical stuff. And then all the students would be like, and then GT would be like, okay, now you try. And they're all like, huh? And then Tuhan Apollo and Tuhan Bobby and Tuhan Jim would be like, no, this is how you do it. And they're like, oh. So just going back to the whole idea of us kind of explaining to students afterwards.
Yeah, we did. No, you just do it like this.
Yeah. Oh man, PDK. Yo, this is gonna be a thing.
PDK.
I like it.
Paulo Din.
Yeah. Padak.
And we'll have a nice ranking structure and.
You know what? It could also stand for Panantukan Dumog Kali.
Wait. Panantukan Dumog.
Yeah.
I mean, right.
Yeah.
I can tell you. Thank you for
by the way, for all you Bikini Tertia people watching, apparently the Grand Tuhan has a whole set of Dumog drills. Connected, really, really good, wrestling-based Dumog drills. If y'all got that information, release that stuff and present it, because that stuff is so much, it's needed. So Jared showed me some. I think Tuhan Mel Tortal knows a lot of it as well. Okay. But they're actually, I think they're really, really good. They remind me of wrestling flow drills.
Some of the folks have this material? Okay.
Yeah, I think some of the folks have this material out there. And another thing I wanted to talk about PTK is
good.
Share the knowledge. I think there is this whole only I know it kind of air about certain.
I was there.
Yeah. But it's okay, cool. Right. I've literally asked people, because I showed a technique or whatever, and I'm like, what's this called? And some guys were just like, I know what it's called, but I'm not telling you what it's called. I'm like,
you have to find out for yourself. You haven't paid your dues yet.
Yeah. Share the Bikini Tertia knowledge, because it is so vast, it is so big, it is so fragmented. We need to come together so that we know where these things are, who holds them, who can teach it, where it belongs, how it integrates to the other systems, and then maybe one day we can write the Bikini Tertia book which will be freaking huge.
God, that would be like encyclopedia, man. I mean, right? Jeez.
I know. There's gonna be like, okay, now we're going to do the slingshot spatula combination. I'm like, oh god, so many weapon types.
Which goes back to one of the
Yeah.
beginning statements that we were talking about. Is PTK too big? And that necessarily doesn't mean maybe that's a bad thing, but it could be just too big. I don't know.
Yeah. See, and Andre Sarias, if you don't share, the arts will die. Absolutely. And it's kind of selfish a little bit. Unless you were made to promise not to say anything. It's like if you have something, I think it's more valuable for community and self to share it well than it is to hold yourself in this like prestigious fake authoritarian pedestal that says only I have the knowledge, man.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, this is a question I wanted to ask you. Just so when things slow down for me, and I do I'm saving all the bids I get from PTTA and all that. Is there somebody you would recommend that? Because I work much better when I have somebody that's kind of coaching me, and all that. Is there who would you recommend from the organization that goes along with my personality type that would be good?
Amazing question. So when you sign up to PTK University, so this is a side note. Maybe it's a side note. You're talking about in-person training?
Or not, but I mean, eventually that would be great, but just from as far as the online content.
Okay, so check out PTK.University. It's awesome. But when you sign up to that online course, you're assigned a high-ranking PTK Tertia instructor to personally oversee your progress. It's called your gabai or your guide, and I think that's what you're asking.
Yet.
Yeah, well, you have to request it because some people.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
all right. So
you have to email info@ptkuniversity.com because some people don't want it for some reason. Like maybe they're already advanced and they don't want a gabai to see. But I think for you,
yeah.
Either Lamont Glass or Jason Jones will do.
Either or would be a good fit for me.
Yeah.
Now, when I get the gabai, does that mean that what if I wanted to do that as far as help and all that, kind of keep me in a straight and narrow? What if I didn't want to pursue rank? They could still be utilized?
Oh hell yeah! You can be like, hey, I did this drill. What am I missing? And you'll just chat with them like regular human beings. You could even communicate with them on Facebook, I guess, if you wanted to. That's the beauty. That's the beautiful thing about the PTK.University online courses. You have that option. Yeah. Like there's so many. I think knowing you though, like you just want like simplified and like super duper functional, less concerned with the artistic side, I guess, and more
I mean,
how does this
because I definitely looked at what's going on, but he doesn't seem as far as the ranking is concerned, he doesn't seem to go, am I wrong, deep into the artistic side, or am I mistaken?
Oh, it's a Tri-V system, so it's not going to be too artistic anyway.
That's what I mean. It seemed like it was kind of direct. Like I'm getting, in other words, all the beginning stuff was no secret, predominantly.
Yeah, it's easy, man. But I mean, it's the tactics and if you get the opportunity, man, like come to Utah for the USA conference.
Yeah.
And you'll just be blown away by the caliber of people that are there. It's usually there's a TRICOM conference, which is like all the cops and military guys. It's immediately followed by the PTTA USA conference, and that's really cool. Lots of sparring, lots of like formal sparring, meaning this is official sparring, and then there's also lots of like side quests where it's like, hey, you want to spar? No, it's cool. There's a lot of that. And then there's a lot of, hey, I want to try this move. And so
Yeah, you
the
find somebody that
yeah, PTTA headquarters is in Jim Jones Salvation. It's an incredible facility. It's strength and conditioning.
Looks it. Jeez.
Yeah, and then on the other side you have a room with mats and tire dummies and heavy bags, and then you've got bag gloves. It's an awesome facility.
No, it looked it. I mean, yeah. Wow. This is, man.
Yeah, it's really cool. Plus, you'll get to meet all the staples of PTTA USA, like Lamont, Jason, Dustin, and Jolie. All those guys, they'll all be there. Hopefully, Rob is there again.
Yeah.
Just an amazing time. It's a good time. But it's in Utah. Everything closes at 9.
Yeah, I mean 9 a.m.
Utah's beautiful, though. Utah's beautiful. Beautiful country.
Really? Never, huh?
Come on, Utah, bro. Utah is one of the
been.
most beautiful states that I've ever been to. Utah and Wyoming.
Wyoming, I could see. Utah, okay. All right.
Yeah, they're border. They share a border.
All right, okay.
Let me teach you about American geography.
I know. I need to take that again. Apparently, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard beautiful things about Wyoming. But
Oh,
it would make sense if Utah borders it. It would also just be just as beautiful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Utah is like a prettier Nevada if Nevada put on makeup.
That's what it would be. Okay, Nevada I hear mixed things about. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Las Vegas, but like it's just too deserty.
That's what. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So this has been. I appreciate you doing this, man. I really do. I mean, this has really helped me kind of like far as direction, far as future episodes and who to bring on and what areas to kind of target, pending the guests and all that. So
hey, not to be biased, like you should try to get Tim Wade on here as well. Like
his name's come up. In fairness to him, I would definitely offer it to him. Absolutely.
He should. He's got a lot of information. He was there from the beginning.
Yeah.
Not from the beginning. But yeah, you should get Tuhan Tim Wade in here and Tuhan Leslie Buck as well. Try to get them all. They're like Pokemon.
No, definitely Tim. Yeah, I know. I want everybody to have an opportunity for sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
But one more word is like in Pikiti Tertia, people say your skill is your rank, but skill as in physical ability to execute the techniques and tactics in live pressurized conditions, but also skill as a matter of how well you can teach and pass on the art to other people. So in that regard, don't overhype the Tuhan rank, because there are plenty of Agalons and Mandalas and Lakangurus out there that might be the better instructor for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like people are all like, it's like if I had a 13-year-old kid, he can only learn so much from GSP. He could probably learn the art better with somebody who can communicate with a child,
a 15-year-old, no,
a 15-year-old. You know what I mean? So like, okay, how much can I actually learn from Mike Tyson? It's going to be me, or like based on my income. Right? Like how good is Warren Buffett's advice to me where he's talking about investing millions of dollars in stock and I'm like, is 200 okay? No, right? So don't overhype this whole Tuhan rank, right? Some people have earned and deserved it. Some people have not. But the Tuhan rank, when deserved, is a stunning rank in all of martial arts. But just like in any martial arts, some people have it that shouldn't. So
yeah, unfortunately, but yeah. Well, I appreciate it, man. I thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And it won't be the last year from me. Burton's starting to feel better, so we got that other one. I definitely would like to do as well. And when I conclude and all that. So, but well, hey, I hope you have a great weekend. I appreciate it.
Thanks, bro. Can I get just one more quick word?
Oh, please do. Oh, yeah.
We have these conversations and we laugh and we learn and we poke fun and we fight. And the reason we get to do all of these things in Pikiti Tertia is because of the Grand Tuhan Leo Gahe And sometimes I can come across as a critic of him, but I love the man. I truly respect what he's done. He's not a perfect human being. We shouldn't hold him up to that standard. He's an amazing, amazing human being, and all the gratitude for me, is it eventually trickles back to Grand Tuhan Leo Gahe. So thank you, GT. You're the man, and whether or not your instructor is affiliated or not affiliated with Grand Tuhan, whether or not you agree or disagree with him, or you think some of his political views or his jokes are inappropriate, like, he's still the man. GT's the man. So again, Dean, thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Oh my God! Again, this was so instrumental and helpful for as a direction for me. So I think I owe you more thanks. So I know like how to go with this. KI was just easy for me to just kind of plug in who and all this. This was, I knew it was going to be a challenge. So, and you've been so helpful. So say, give a good night to your daughter.
I will. Kai, Dean says good night.
Is that the guy?
Good night. Yeah. She thinks you're famous.
Yeah. God, you got to correct her on that. Oh boy.
No, she's a fan. She's a fan, bro. Yeah. But thank you again. Thank you. And thank you to all the commenters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Akidi Tersha Kali. Let's go. Thanks, Dean.
All right, you take care. All right, folks. So yeah, so that very helpful. Now I have kind of a direction. Late 70s, Tri-V versus old. How big is PTK too big? What else? Getting folks together and kind of know who in the put and all that. So very, very empty hand segment. So this is extremely helpful. So that was good. And also, I just want to thank everybody. I lost track of the comments, but I'm guessing, if I had to guess, 100 or so. But yes, I want to thank everybody who took the time to watch this. And please, if you have suggestions that perhaps maybe we didn't cover tonight in regard to this series, by all means, send me a message. Definitely open to suggestions of topics and who to bring on here. So please do. Who is next? If I'm not mistaken, Tuesday night with Martin, I think a Tuhan Mikel. Tuesday night. Yes, actually test run Sunday, 1 p.m. So another PTK guy. Yeah. All right, folks. If you haven't already, please subscribe to FMA Discussion on YouTube, where all the money received goes 100% to charity. We do not keep any of it. So you'll be helping us help others. And all this stuff goes generally to kids. So 234 comments. I would have never guessed that. Wow. That could very well be an FMA discussion record. Wow. Never would have guessed that. Jeez. That's a lot. All right, folks. Thanks again. And until next time.